Yeah, so this is the inside of a shock absorber, and I thought I'll show you how I got it apart. It all started with I took the spring off because I wanted to, oh yeah, so I wanted to modify the shock altogether basically. So I've got the spring off, and that involved this unscrewing. This is the top part, and there wasn't any way to hold the shaft. See, I've put these marks on it for later on, in case I want to unscrew it. But basically before I just had to get it really hot and whack it with a hammer, sort of, you know, twisting against a block, and then it released, and so I got the spring off. Then I found that, you know, I was looking to see how good the damping was, so I was pushing it in, and it went about it went about 1.5 inches at the most, and I thought that just can't be right, you know, because it moved with a bit of resistance, as it would. So I decided to have a look inside, and so I want to show you how I did that before I put it back together. So it had these, see, it's got a groove. This is the bit that holds it in, and there's a groove. Try and ignore these marks, but it's just a groove, and then the metal is like embossed into the groove with a machine, you know, and you can see where I've cut it out, trying to not damage it too much, you know, minimally. So what I did was I got a pillar drill, and I put a thin drill in either side. So I drilled down two in each one, either side. Then I had to join across with I've got a Dremel, you know, with a nice thin, very nice, useful, can you see it? Yeah, there it is. That's a tungsten thing, so it's just great. So I managed to make these shapes, and then with a lot of effort I managed to extract this, and they're just the marks. And obviously you get a bit of burring, so I had to really go very thoroughly with all the grinding out. Anyway, so I looked inside, and I can't really show you too well because I've put it back, and it's back now, but that is like an obstruction, you know what I mean? It's only halfway down, and that's, I'm thinking, what, you know. So I'm trying to pull it out, and it was coming up, and then it wouldn't come all the way out because there's a little for some reason there's a little divot inside. It's very smooth, but there's a little ridge, very subtle, running round about there. Anyway, so I couldn't pull it, so in the end I just drew a hole through it. It's plastic, and it's got like a big, thick, nice O-ring, and it's an air piston, you know. So I've drilled it out, and I put a dirty grey, one of them roofing screws in it, and yanked it out, so I could see what's going on. And it's just air in there. So it's basically a cushion of air that you hit for the last half of the travel, so that you don't bottom out, you know. And so I've put it back. I cleaned it up and put a pot rivet with a washer, blocked it off again, and it's a sealed pot rivet, and it's a big piece of nylon, so that's fine. So that'll be right. So I'm going to put it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it back together, and I'll just show you what the main part is. This plunger with a nice piston ring. So that's for your damping, and it's very basic. I don't know if it's got, yeah, it's probably got some one-way valves in there. There's some slots in there, so it's obviously got some, you know, and it's probably got this, it doesn't move. Anyways, whatever it is, and there's a nice damping thing there. So I'm going to put it together, and it does go together. So that's just air. Now when I put that in, I'll put some oil in. Sorry, you couldn't see that. I'm going to put some very light oil in it, like 2.5 weight. I might just put some diesel in it or something. And then I've decided to, I'm going to put it together and put pot rivets. Actually, I'll be able to show you that. Maybe that I'll join the videos. I've decided you can either just like punch in all around there with a punch, but I think I'd like to just make it so that I can even take it apart, and because that would be like the last chance to take it apart. I wouldn't be able to get it apart again. So I'm going to put some pot rivets in there. That'd be nice because there's plenty of room to drill into it, and it's just soft. So I'll drill into that and put some short pot rivets in. That'll look nice. And I'm going to make a new thing here out of steel with a different style of end there. But yeah, I like taking things apart and obviously have a look at what's going on. So I feel better about it now. I know what's going on. So this is off a big BMW single shock, and I'm going to put it in another BMW scooter with a single shock, and it's going to be lighter. I'm not going to mess with the original one. So this is going to be lighter because for a start, the angle on this one comes off a bike, it's about that angle, but when I put it on my scooter it's going to be like that. So it's going to be lighter because the angle is right really like this. And the other thing is the spring is about 1 mil thinner wire, so that'll be lighter, although it's a little bit narrower, so that makes it heavier, because the wider the spring, the more metal it takes. So there's if you have a very wide spring, it'll be easier to push together. But it's a thinner wire, and also it's got more coils, so that'll counterbalance the fact that it's not as wide. If that makes sense.